Hi guys. In this video I will going to tell you the top 10 greatest movies on Hollywood. So without further ado, let's get started. Number 10. The Usual Suspects, 1995. Some films are easy to follow. Others make you pay close attention. For The Usual Suspects, you might need to take notes. Described as a neo-noir movie, like noir, but newer, The Usual Suspects makes heavy use of flashback to tell the story of a group of con men, a jewel heist, a mysterious crime lord with a ridiculous name, who may, or may not, exist, a shit ton of cocaine and an explosion on a ship. Kevin Spacey plays Verbal Kint, a weasel-like con man that no one likes, who is scared to death that Kaiser Soze or his henchmen, the equally implausibly named Kobayashi, will wreak revenge on him and his family, if he tells what he knows. Number 9. Apocalypse Now, 1979. Apocalypse Now is Francis Ford Coppola's startling retelling of Joseph Conrad's novel, Heart of Darkness. It stars Martin Sheen as Captain Willard, who is sent upriver in Vietnam to find Colonel Kurtz, as played by Marlon Brando, who is leading a team of special forces and who is believed to have gone mad. The movie beautifully captures the true nature of war. Long periods of being shit scared, while absolutely nothing happens, followed by brief bursts of action that achieves nothing. Brando does not appear until late in the movie, but his appearance is worth the wait. Is Kurtz insane, or is being insane the only sane thing to be when you are living on your last nerve in the jungle, waiting for an unseen enemy to kill you in unspeakable ways? Brando's appearance is surreal and disturbing, as is the end of the movie. Will the horror of his actions have the same effect on Willard as it does on Kurtz? Is the horror contagious? Although the shooting was beset by problems, not least Martin Sheen's heart attack and Brando's lack of preparation, the final cut of Apocalypse Now, edited, it is rumored, from over 1 million feet of film, is consistently voted one of the best films ever made about war. Number 8. Toy Story, 1995. Toy Story is a film of firsts. It was the first entirely computer-animated feature-length film. It was the first feature by a new company called Pixar. And it was the first film to have the marketing built right in. Because the characters were all toys. You make a kid's film with toys in it, and then you sell the toys. Genius. What was also genius, was the script. The idea of toys that come to life when no one is watching wasn't exactly new. But that didn't matter, because the script was not about toys. It was about friendship. Toy Story is a buddy movie. It's a movie about acceptance. Accepting ourselves, even when we don't live up to our expectations, and accepting our friends, even when they are really irritating and give themselves stupid catchphrases that make no sense. The script was so good, in fact, that it was nominated for an Oscar for Best Original Screenplay. Watch this film with your kids, or better yet, without them, and let it take you to infinity and beyond. Number 7. The Matrix, 1999. The Matrix was a 1999 sci-fi movie from the Wachowskis that was unlike any other sci-fi ever. Sure, it had the same dystopian future, we've all been taken over by alien shtick going on, but apart from that, totally new. For a start, Keanu Reeves, Carrie-Anne Moss, and even Lawrence Fishburne looked cool. All black clothes, slicked back hair and great sunglasses. They also had awesome kung fu moves. And then there were the special effects. Groundbreaking doesn't begin to describe it. They may not have invented bullet time, but no one had ever used it as well. The Matrix showed us that anything was possible. The trick was not to try and bend the spoon, but to realize that you can make $460 million by persuading people that the spoon is not there. Both Matrix sequels were appealing, but nothing can take away the memory of seeing the first one. Unless you take the blue pill. Number 6. Fight Club, 1999. The first rule of Soap Club is, it's not about the soap. It's about the fighting. Fight Club, based on the novel of the same name by Chuck Palahniuk, is a film about men's loss of identity in a civilized world. Or about the increasing dissatisfaction with capitalist society. Or maybe it was about the fighting. Edward Norton, an insomniac who travels the world to look at car wrecks, literally, meets Tyler Durden, played by Brad Pitt. Tyler is everything that he is not. He is smart, he is tough, and he is without fear. One of them is crazy. They start a fight club because they don't want to die without any scars. And soon half the city has a black eye or a busted lip. While it barely made a splash when it was first released, Fight Club has become one of the most quotable films in history. Number 5. The Dark Knight, 2008. Not all superheroes movies are the same. They can be fun, sure, but they're not usually good, and they are rarely great. Last year's Joker, with Joaquin Phoenix, was certainly great, but can hardly be called a superhero movie. It merely inhabited some of the same spaces. But The Dark Knight, which also features a Joker, does qualify. Directed by Christopher Nolan, and starring Christian Bale as Batman, this is a much more sinister film than most superhero movies. Gotham is a very dark place, both literally and metaphorically. And Christian Bale is great, but Heath Ledger is better. He brings a dangerous level of insanity to the Joker, his last great role. The movie broke box office records, not just as tribute to Ledger but because the film made being a superhero sexy. Out went the spandex costumes, and in came black leather, moody lighting, and a bad guy so exuberant that you can't help loving him a bit too. Number 4. Terminator 2, Judgment Day, 1991. Terminator 2 was better than the Terminator. Unfortunately, while the laws of time continued to be suspended throughout the rest of the Terminator series, the law of diminishing returns reasserted itself after Judgment Day, and by the time we reached Terminator 6, Dark Fate, it was considerably less good. But still with Terminator action. Which is pretty cool. But Terminator 2 was the one. It still had Arnold Schwarzenegger. But this time he had lines. He still said Sarah Connor a lot, but he said other cool stuff too. Like, "Hasta la vista, baby." And, "I'll be back." It has lots of shooting, machines, chases, and blowing stuff up. If you are looking for great action, explosions and unnecessary muscle, this is the film for you. Number 3. The Empire Strikes Back, 1980. There are lots of great movies about space. 2001, Space Odyssey, Alien, Guardians of the Galaxy, kidding. But Star Wars is in a galaxy of its own. Not those horrible later Disney versions, of course, but certainly the first 3 films. And if we could only pick one, The Empire Strikes Back is it. It has everything. Not only Luke, Han, Leia and Darth Vader to provide the drama, but also some robots and a tiny Jedi Master called Yoda, who talks kinda funny. There are plenty of lightsaber battles, explosions and a mind-blowing plot twist involving parental lineage, which make this film a must. But, for best results, you should always watch The Empire Strikes Back after watching A New Hope. And if you've watched the first 2 films, you might as well keep going and watch The Return of the Jedi, too. Number 2. Harold and Maude, 1971. Can't decide between a black comedy or a love story? Why not have both? Released in 1971, Harold and Maude is the story of a teenage boy obsessed with death and suicide. He meets Maude at a funeral, and falls in love. Maude loves life, perhaps because, at the age of 79, she knows that she doesn't have much of it left. Maude teaches Harold a lot. While he drives around in a hearse, and continually plans his own demise, Maude makes every second count. She teaches him how to appreciate life. She teaches him to play the banjo. And she teaches him how to love. Harold and Maude is touching, funny, and yes, okay, it's a little bit strange. But it has a whole lot of joie de vivre and a soundtrack by Cat Stevens. So, watch the film, and if you want to sing out, sing out. Number 1. 12 Angry Men, 1957. The best courtroom drama ever wasn't filmed in a courtroom. There were no impassioned speeches for the defense, no expert witnesses, no damning testimony. There were just 12 angry men. Made in 1957, it starred Henry Fonda as juror number 8, and Lee J. Cobb as juror number 3. As well as 10 other guys, obviously. The film is a fascinating study of crowd behavior, and how people will abdicate responsibility to anyone with a stronger personality than their own. It was also groundbreaking, in that it was filmed almost entirely in one setting, the jury room, filled with 12 people who don't know anything about each other. Not even their names. After a cursory discussion, 11 jurors vote guilty. Only one man stands out against them. Yes, you've guessed it, Henry Fonda is not satisfied. He insists that they discuss the evidence, questions the reliability of the witnesses, and the rarity of the supposedly rare murder weapon, found in the defendant's pocket. Henry Fonda, in fact, does the job that the defending barrister should have done, but presumably didn't. Fonda is not a man to be swayed by peer pressure, the cramped confines of the room, the heat, or the raging thunderstorm outside. He is prepared to sit there, calmly, and discuss the case all night, if need be. 12 Angry Men is tense, and genuinely suspenseful. It shows us how much we are swayed by the opinions of others and how far our own prejudices inform our thinking. Most of all, it shows how one person, standing up for what is right, can make a difference. And who doesn't want to watch that?